Here's a speaker. Speakers.
That's a good sign. Oh, is it on?
Yeah, that is.
Does anyone have their microphone on?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
No.
Hello, can you hear me now?
All right, here we go.
That's all I
It's
care.
just on.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Low network being stable network. Okay. You're on the secure network.
Just let everybody handle. See what happens. All right. Since it works, I'll keep mine up and running.
There you go. Yeah. Good idea.
No, thanks.
Yeah, but there's
Wicked slow.
3 or 4 more people trying to get on.
Right.
Okay.
Unstable network connection.
Yeah, suppose.
So when someone speaks into the mic, it should make our camera bigger.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. It's different.
Maybe you want to test and see if someone can respond back. Yeah, they can hear it.
Oh, yeah, I can see the microphone going up and down like
Okay,
Ron was talking,
okay.
yes.
Okay, that's what we need.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order.
We test the
First
microphone.
order of business, we wanna make sure, can people on Zoom hear us?
Is your microphone on?
Yes, it is, yeah. my microphone.
Paul, can you hear us? Can anybody hear us?
Can anyone on Zoom hear us?
Good for my end, that's Sean Thomas.
Oh, good, okay.
How about that?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. We
Yeah.
can.
Thank you.
All right, we had some technical difficulties here. We haven't started the meeting yet, but we just wanted to make sure everybody could hear us and we can hear you, so.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're not very loud, but I can hear you.
What mic number are you? Let's see.
5.
So you can turn number 5 up some.
As loud as you could.
How's that, Paul?
Just give me, hello.
Yep, how's that for volume?
That's a little better. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It's 5:45. First order of business is we're gonna look at the minutes from, we have 2 previous meetings. April 18th was the meeting that was mostly about the campus road property. I have a couple of changes to that. Oh, no, it's the next one. No, I don't have anything to that one.
I do.
Go ahead.
Line 319, last page.
Yeah.
Lincoln has the lowest tax rate in the state of New Hampshire for any town with water and sewer. And then and also provides water and sewer to 99% of the town, and they don't get charged for it. We do pay for it in our taxes, we just don't get charged the additional.
Get charged additionally?
Additionally,
Repeat that again, Tammy.
it has the lowest tax rate in the state of New Hampshire for any town with water and sewer. And then continue to, and they don't get charged additionally for it. Who's that, is it? Hey, Paul, can you mute yourself again, please?
What's that?
Can you mute yourself again? We can just hear talking in the background. Thank you. And I will make a motion to approve those as amended.
Did you do anything, Jack? Okay, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that's on the signature sheet, so we're not gonna
I'll
sign.
correct that tonight. You'll have it before.
Okay.
And
And
then the 22nd, you had stuff?
the 22nd, yeah. I know the discussion with the deductibles was confusing. The motion, I believe to be correct, but the discussion going up there, I just want to make a few changes to make it clearer and to jive with what the motion was. So on line 56, it should say the town contribution will remain the same for either plan. And then go on, it says, and the employee will be responsible for paying the difference for, cross out either, and just write the 1K deductible plan. And then those single contributions, I assume those numbers are right, but that's all fine. Then in the next paragraph on line 63, in parentheses, it says the town will pay 50% of the deductible for the 3K deductible plan and 100% of the deductible for the $1,000 deductible plan. And then that matches what the motion is. And then going over to line 152, the dates for the snowmobiles use of the railroad tracks is backwards. It's December 1st through April 1st.
Okay.
I think that was all that I have. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the 22nd as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you have anyone public?
No.
All right, next for the agenda, we're gonna pause on this and, I know there's some people here to talk about the big fire event that we had last weekend. The chief sent an email to the 3 board members And I just thought maybe as a start, that would be a good way to kind of bring people up to speed with what we know as a board. Did you want to read that?
I can do that.
Yep.
I'll send it to you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't send it to you.
That's okay.
Sorry. I did send it to you, Cricket, though. didn't I?
Your microphone.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Good to know, Jack's not on. He's smart.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, turn him on.
When I speak, it'll go on.
So I'll just read the email.
Yeah, I think that'd be.
So I feel it's important to clear the air about the performance of our municipal water system during the fire event. Lincoln Fire was toned out at 1:08 p.m. last Saturday for a first alarm structure fire at 121 Main Street. While responding, we immediately called for a second alarm to get more resources to respond. Lincoln Engine 2, Power 1 were on scene within approximately 8 minutes. Employed hand lines to protect the exposures to the fire while awaiting more resources to arrive and establish the needed water supply. We attacked the fire. Once the water supply was established, we contacted the water department and they responded to the
You're having technical difficulties.
scene to assist actively monitoring the water system and advise us that we should look to transition.
Sorry, keep going.
Paul, you're not able to hear what Ron's saying?
Actually, you're back again. You were gone for about 20 seconds, but that's all. It was just about that email, right?
Okay, yep, he's still going with the email.
I'll go back a couple of lines and start over. So, once we established the water supply, we contacted the water department and they responded to the scene to assist in monitoring the water system. We attacked the fire with both deck guns from our tower, deck gun on engine 2, Woodstock's deck gun on their ladder, and 1 ground monitor and 4 hand lines. I estimate that we were flowing at least 6,000 gallons a minute for at least an hour. During that hour, Nate was closely monitoring the water system and advised us that we should look to transitioning to an alternate water source. Then we called for a 4th alarm, which brought in tankers to help shuttle water in from an alternate source. At this point, we stopped flowing the water to all the deck guns until we established an alternate water source, but we still continued to use a couple hand lines on the municipal system. With the alternate water source established, we then resumed using the deck guns and interior overhaul. To summarize, all of our equipment in the municipal water system performed as designed. I have attached a fire flow analysis for Forest Gardens, which is the 12-unit building, similar size, and I highlighted section of the report that states that there is 1,750 gallons per minute available for 3 hours, which equates to 310,000 gallons in a 3-hour period. The fire at 121 Main Street, we used at least 360,000 gallons in 1 hour. Also, previous engineering reports have stated we only had 380,000 gallons of available fire flow storage in the main pressure zone, and I'll elaborate a little bit on that. That analysis is with a full tank and the water treatment system on, producing max of 1,000 gallons a minute. This was not an ordinary, it was kind of like the perfect storm. We had a building built in the 1900s, balloon frame construction, and the water system had just started to refill the Forest Bridge tank, which means the tank was probably down to 880,000 gallons in it. It wasn't truly to 1 million. Because I think the plant kicks on when it loses 4 feet. There's approximately 33,000 gallons per foot in that tank. So being down 4, that would be 120,000 gallons less than 1 million. With that all being said, with all this being said, I would like to commend all the personnel that responded to the call and the staff for supporting us during this event. Without Nate's help monitoring the system, we could have caused harm to the water system by depleting. Now, I know that my primary job, that I have to be a water operator for a municipal water system. We have had to boil water notice when you deplete a water system and lose pressure. That's in a lot smaller community than we have in Lincoln. We have a lot of businesses here and everything. If Nate had not been there to monitor the system, we have no way of knowing how much water we used at that fire. We're focused on putting the fire out, protecting life and property and putting the fire out. Thankfully, Nate was monitoring my staff. I put Mike Weeden in command because I was busy getting the ladder truck set up with the limited staff that we had. He worked with Nate, and Tommy Saber was semi-Tommy operations right out of the gate. So I could more focus on operating 2 trucks basically once I got engine 1 down there. But if we had depleted this system, we would have had to do a boil water notice. Businesses would have been shut down because of, having to get water back in the system. God forbid, you cavitate pumps, it would cost tens of thousands of dollars. So it truly was a good team effort. We saved 2 businesses. Unfortunately, we lost the building that caught fire, but nobody was hurt. I think everybody did a commendable job. Just to follow up on all that, we have had a meeting with Woodstock. We did a follow-up. We critiqued things we could do better, things we didn't do. We're going to work on a plan to work more on alternate water sources. Nate has already communicated with me that he's going to work on getting us access down by James Playhouse to the river. We're going to work with Loon on that pipeline that we've only tested once. That wasn't even an option at this fire scene because the employees that we worked with before to test that pipeline that comes from Goponi's Pond that we're supposed to be able to tap. That employee is not there anymore. They don't have a snowmaking manager, so they're really, with the intense fire that we had, we just didn't have the time to try and find someone that could turn it on or whatever. So, do you have any questions?
No, thank you for sending that email to us. And that was helpful because we've heard a lot of things in town.
As I have also.
As everyone has. We understand that, again, it was the theoretical ideal that was in the Hoyle Chan report, I believe, was 1,700 gallons of.
No, that was the Weston and Sampson.
That wasn't in Sampson, sorry.
And that was a year ago.
Okay, that's the most recent one.
That's the most recent. I probably should elaborate too, is with the new tank that's gonna be going in on Loon, that's gonna support not only the main pressure zone, but with a PRV will help support a large draw on the Village Loon tank system, the other pressure zone. That's gonna only grow our available fire flow once that tank goes online. And then as future development happens, obviously that'll get whittled down a little bit because you gotta take into account the maximum daily demands, available fire storage, and emergency storage. But currently, and Weston and Sampson has backed this up, our available fire flow storage in the main pressure zone with the tank at 1 million gallons in the water treatment at max output capacity is 380,000 gallons. So we were right there within that hour. If we had gone much further, the higher elevations within the main pressure zone would have fallen below the 20 PSI residual during a fire flow day. And the next step, what would have happened is if we took the tank down even further, is we wouldn't be filling the village loom tank or the flume tank. Then we're gonna have a much broader situation that we're gonna have to deal with. As it was, Nate had turned off the pumps feeding village loom. I think he changed the feed to, the flume tank from the wells.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, it's
Because
for wells?
he can treat the wells to go direct to that, 176,000 gallon tank, or 146. I just can't say enough, I'm so proud of my team, the water department, they truly stepped up. We could have had a big catastrophe going and trying to put out that fire.
So, yeah, I mean, I gotta commend the response time that you were on site within, what'd you say,
8 to 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
For a volunteer department, that is remarkable,
Yeah, because
remarkable.
regardless of how much water you have, if that had gone on, I'm not an expert, but a few more minutes, I think the buildings on either side would have been certainly more damaged than they were.
They were already, the siding was melting off, it was smoking.
Right.
The parapet, or the false front at the top of El Greco's was already starting to light. That's what they did that quick with the hose. They went after, siding on the restroom. Got that calmed down. Woodstock came with an aerial. I sent them through the parking lot and out in, the one way going into the
Oh,
parking
sure,
lot to
yeah.
melt. So he could get around, and Woodstock's engine tagged the hydrant at the ball field, brought the water up to us. And at one point, we had to transition and I think put another engine and boost it up a little bit more to get some more volume because we weren't right where we needed to be. And then we tagged the hydrant up by, I call it the old bank, well, the Union Bank. So tagged that hydrant and brought that one down. Was it perfect? I mean, I was just about ready to turn and take a right and get on the interstate with my wife in the Mustang. All my gear was in my truck at home, and then the tone went out. And I turned to my wife and said, gotta go to this one. So I pulled it around quick down by the dinner train. Got behind Ryan, he was responding. He has lights on his truck, so I followed him. As I'm driving by, and my wife says, oh, this is a cooker. And because you could feel the heat, it was already fully involved, both floors. So regrettably, I'm sorry about this, I was not in my bunker gear, but I saw the response level, and actually, I think it was Mike reached out to me, asked me to respond directly to grab a piece of apparatus, because we knew we had limited people first arriving. I think we had 4 total on engine 2. There was 6 of us total, with 2 pieces of apparatus, so
Well, the timing, I mean, we're talking vacation week. The amount of people in town that were out of town for school vacation week, the timing was horrible. I mean, not that any fire is timed well, but this was just, you're right, the perfect storm.
well, and during the critique, the follow-up action meeting that we had with Woodstock, it was determined, we had 10 total, and Woodstock had 10 total. Some of the guys had to come POV, because we already got a lot of the apparatus there, but,
What works?
well, and I was busy, I was trying to do command, I gave up the 2 that responded with me on the tower. Mike came to me, and he says, I'll take command, you got the ladder, we'll just work together, kind of a unified situation. Tommy Saber, got on the scene, he has taken operations for us in the past and done a very good job, felt comfortable with that. So I made the most of the initial assets that showed up, and as things progressed, Mike came to me several times with things, Tommy came to me several times. Again, fortunately, I was in my plain clothes, but I wasn't going in the building.
Right.
I was the truck operator, and it actually kind of is a violation of our response protocol, but our initial, we didn't even know if all the
Well, I think-
occupants were out of the building yet.
Under the circumstances, it made more sense for you to do that than it did for you to go all the way up to North Lincoln and get your son to come all the way back.
Sure.
In an emergency situation. Was it ideal? Absolutely not. Was it protocol? No. However, it in that kind of an emergency, you do what you need to do like that without, I don't,
Yeah, I like all the sentiment that OJ said. I mean, it was obviously a team effort. Everybody participating to fight the fire and save lives. And, the fire did not spread. We were so fortunate, and certainly nobody in the building got injured. So consequently, that's an A plus.
agree.
Mistakes, you guys, you live it, I don't. You've talked with the chief, both chiefs, I guess.
Chief McKay was, came to me, he wasn't on call, he was on vacation.
Right.
But he was brought up to speed, he actually pointed out some things also. There's definitely, we don't get these a lot. We train for them,
Thankfully,
but, thankfully we don't. But we do have a lot of structures that present, opportunity for something bad like that to happen, and we do the best we can. But I gotta tell you, with the amount of mutual aid we had there, I mean, the teamwork was outstanding. I mean, we worked with people we've never worked with before, and once we got the sectors, they call them sectors, different staging areas set up, which Tommy and Mike did an outstanding job with. Once that was all organized, I mean, it just flowed. And Plymouth Fire, they had 2 fires previous to coming to our fire. And Mike made the right call, and Tommy did as well, that we used them as a RIT team and gave them a break, because they had just battled a garage fire and a multifamily down in Plymouth, a few hours before that, so.
And who else do we have? Littleton and Campton also?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody coordinated.
There's a big list of, we had as far as where's Sandwich and New Hampton.
At least 16 different departments, I think we counted.
thank goodness for mutual aid.
I was in Concord that day, driving home from an event, and as I'm going by exit 32, Sandwich's truck is getting off and Ashland's truck is getting off, and that's when I said, okay, this is something,
Yeah.
something's
Something
going
wrong
on.
here. Yeah.
But yeah, there's I don't know how many, but numerous departments like that. Just a couple of thoughts. First of all, this was the first time, I believe, that tower truck was involved, used in a major,
And a fire that size, yes.
You glad you had it?
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, we ended up, we used it where I had positioned it for quite a while, and then later on in the fire, we ended up repositioning to get the B side of the building, the other side of the building on the Pleasant
Yeah,
Street side. Obviously, the tin roof presented a huge, it was an oven. It just kept all the heat in.
I'm so thankful that no one was hurt. That there was no one was stuck in the building. None of our firefighters got seriously injured. It was, well, most of them anyway. And it was turned out the way it did. I really commend Lincoln Fire Department and Woodstock. I mean,
Absolutely.
The two of you worked very well together, and mutual aid, all the other towns showing up, but Woodstock really stepped up and,
It wasn't only the fire department, too, the police department,
Oh, yeah.
ambulance.
Right.
oh, sure.
Lumen had 3 ambulances there that saved their ass.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think, do you reach out with thank yous, or what do you do for that? Nothing? Is it just
I think the auxiliary did.
We had, the
Yeah,
auxiliary
right.
wrote thank you cards, we did.
Fantastic.
We've actually reached out a couple different times.
Well, and in the community, I mean, it was an exorbitant amount of water, Gatorade, food.
Yeah.
It was, and didn't some of the mutual aid partners say, wow, you guys eat good?
So they said, we're gonna come to Lincoln more often, we've never eaten so good at a
Oh,
fire station.
yeah.
That's good to hear. We have such a great community. We really do.
It's incredible.
The Lincoln Woodstock community is amazing. I've always said that.
I was standing at the tent talking to Megan Harrington, and
Woods,
Woods,
she's only been married about 12 years.
I know, y'all know who I met. But in talking with her, I mean, we got interrupted like 4 or 5 times with 7-Eleven brought up pizzas, and then someone from Fresh Chocolate come over with a bunch of stuff. I mean, it was, I don't think they called anyone. It was just people heard, and they knew what to do. And just the fact that the auxiliary was there with the tent and water,
But
food.
both
Both,
auxiliaries.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Well,
they're a
I
great
think the
community.
smoke pretty much covered the whole town.
Yeah.
There was a lot of smoke blowing around this town.
So, in my, like, reading the official reports from from Weston and Sampson, and then the ones from Big Water, and which I remember reading those, and it always seemed like, 3 hours of firefighting water that the town supplied was a lot. Although I never really comprehended what 360,000 gallons looks like or can do. But the fact that you use that all in an hour was kind of eye-opening for me. I mean, that's a big structure, it's an old structure, but it's not the only big old structure we have in this town.
Well, yeah, but also taking into consideration the evaluation for the, in that report,
Forest Gardens.
Forest Gardens, that's a sprinkler building. This was not a sprinkler building, it was built in the 1900s.
Right.
It was rough sawn lumber that's had a lot of time to dry out. I mean, I've got a 13-second video of the incipient stage of the fire on the deck, and in 13 seconds, the flames were rolling over the deck to get to the next level. In 13 seconds, that's how quick. And once it got into the wall, it went up and it went straight down. There was no fire stopping.
Right, right.
Because balloon frame construction,
Right.
that's why we don't build that way anymore.
Right.
It's unfortunate, I hate to see anybody lose property, but there was no life loss.
But I guess it impressed upon me the need for securing additional water.
Mhm.
Yes.
South Peak Tank is gonna help that. But I think that the use of other water sources is important for this town to plan ahead. I know we have the dry hydrant up by my house on
Yeah.
Route 3,
Well, that's dependent on the level of,
and I know that can be unreliable, but I guess my question is, what's the best thing, and I'm not expecting an answer tonight, but I think between you and Nate and Weston and Sampson, whatever, we need to look at what is the best alternative source for us to use. Is it behind Gene's Playhouse or behind the
Right.
incinerator or someplace where it's accessible and can be pumped into the downtown?
yeah, well, you remember the Nordic Income Demand Fire.
Yes.
We went to the river on it.
So how
We
bridge,
used to have access to get down to the levee
Oh, right.
Right, on that dirt road.
on the dirt road getting down. Franconia made 2 trips. They did a Siamese, and then they drafted and pumped up. And then I was there for that fire. We got off the municipal and allowed the remaining balance of the water system to go to the common main.
Oh,
To fight that
right.
fire,
Yep.
we finished the fire at the Nordic Inn, the A phase, from what Franconia was sending up to us. We ended up shutting down 112,
Incredible.
across.
Yeah.
Because Bill Willey was the water superintendent back there, and I remember him going up to Fluffy Nate and said, "You're about done here." And you didn't shut them off, but that's when Franconia they had a real truck back then. So they could drive down, they laid down, laid back up, and went down and pumped it up, the Siamese, and that's what we used to put that fire out. So to your point though, we need to get right on developing alternate waters. This is a shot across the bow. This is kind of a way of putting it, that we really need to move forward with developing those. But it's not just for summertime, we need it for year round, as far as having one in the winter also.
Right.
So,
So anyway, I think that should be a priority of the fire department and water department working together.
and look,
And Loon, yeah.
And
Brian
Loon.
Norton, I met with him last week, and he said he is more than willing to help in any way they can to understand Loon's capabilities and get the right personnel, Nate trained, Ron trained, fire department employees trained to know how to get their water going and running,
Right.
helping in that scenarios.
yeah, because there's millions and millions of gallons in that pond up there, right?
And Ken, like you said, Ken's no longer with us, so.
Right, and we did do a test, I think Mike was,
I was talking
We did test that once on lower South Peak Road. It took about an hour before we finally got water out. We were only able to flow about 500 gallons a minute, I think it was. They used one of the Hydro Pro diffusers to test the output. So we fully determined that their pumps will not boost enough pressure. They can keep the pipe full, so we've got to transition to drafting, which firemen don't normally do. You don't draft a hydrant with a hard suction. But on those the blue hydrants, we'll have to draft. They can keep the pipe full. We can draft what we want. They just don't have, their pumps are designed for high volume, low pressure. Because when they're filling the cans for snowmaking and ballooning, it's just dumping out of the pipe in the cans. It's just got to get it from there to there. Where we're asking it to do a 6-foot lift in an 8-inch pipe off a 24-inch main, deadheading it, shutting it off, the pumps just aren't designed.
Right.
But they can keep the pipe full and we can pull it out of the pipe. They can send it to us all day long. We just gotta get there so someone operates the pumps and then we can do our part drafting off those hydrants.
All right, well, let's make that a priority to look at that and seriously, if this could be done in time for the CIP process, because I think no matter what you do, and even if Loon says here, check out of these, there might be some,
An MOU or something.
an MOU, but there might be some, cost to doing that, I just don't know what the interface between their system and our system will be. If we're gonna hook directly up to their hydrants, or is there a buried pit that just dumps water into a pit by Loon?
No, we just,
Been pulled out by Lincoln, so we're not
no,
touching theirs?
we'll be hooking onto their,
Yeah.
I think there's 4, maybe 5 hydrants on that entire 24-inch main.
Okay,
There's no way we could get into their cans where it dumps in the New River. So there's one by GH on Connector Road.
Mhm.
It's right there on the right-hand side.
Yep.
There's one behind Price Chopper, and there's 3 others in South Peak, the intersection of the Lower Road, Crooked Mountain Road. There's one right there behind the rail. And there's 2 along South Peak Road, the Lower Road. So those are the hydrants that we can use. Obviously, anything on the Main Street would want to go to the GH one. South Peak, you just pick what part of South Peak you want to pull it from.
all right.
That's it.
We did get a letter related to the fire, and I'll read it. It's from, it says, "My name is Stephen Dupre. My wife Nancy and I live in Massachusetts, but also own a condo in Lincoln. We've been coming to town for over 20 years. We were there last weekend and witnessed the terrible fire that occurred on Main Street. I'm a retired deputy fire chief in the town where we live, having served the department for 45 years. The Lincoln Fire Department, with the assistance of mutual aid companies from near and far, did a fantastic job of containment with the amount of fire that was showing on arrival. Their quick response kept the fire from spreading to homes and businesses surrounding the Main Street structure. The intense heat and smoke made a difficult situation for the firefighters on the scene. Thankfully, there were no serious injuries. This speaks to the continuous training of the department and the surrounding town departments. It was very impressive to see 3 EMS units at the scene to assist the firefighters if needed. Additionally, the auxiliary, townspeople, and town businesses all lent their support. The Lincoln Police also kept the perimeter safe and traffic well detoured. It is comforting to know that Lincoln is protected by these highly qualified individuals. Sincerely, Stephen Dupre." So, there's someone who witnessed it and was an experienced firefighter and the rest, so.
We'll make sure you get a copy of that, you can bring it to your next meeting.
Awesome.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
I'll just give you this one.
Yeah. Can we put it on the agenda, say in July, to be flexible?
Yep.
And in between now and then, your team and Nate look and investigate and talk to Brian and see what we can come up with for a plan, so that when we do go through 360,000 gallons of water,
In an hour.
we know what's next and and where it's coming from, and there's a secure backup source.
Is that something we want to add to the ongoing,
We can, I would
just to
say,
keep it in the forefront?
yeah. Let's see if we can just schedule something with us in July, if that
Yep.
makes sense. And
Check with
gives-
Nate, see
give
what
us
his
an update.
vacation schedules are and all that.
Right, right.
He just got back from one, he's not going
Oh,
anywhere.
he's good.
Wait, he takes vacations.
All right, is there any other input or questions?
Anyone?
Well, again, thank you for coming in, thank you, oh, is there anyone
I
online?
didn't see anything online.
Thank you for writing us the note ahead of time,
It was important.
and thanks for coming in to answer our questions and discuss this. And again, thank your whole team for everything.
Yeah.
Showing up on a Sunday and Saturday.
Saturday.
And
Well, they
Sunday.
also, so we also had to do a fire watch at the building. So we had probably, most of us had gotten home probably around 1 o'clock, and then you had to bring another engine out because it started smoking under the Utterly Delicious. So they ended up going back and actually putting just tank water on wheels and foamed the heck out of it, so it would reignite again.
Mm.
Good job there.
Yeah, thank you for all you do. Most people run out of private buildings. I appreciate that you run into them.
and for all you do and for when you do it,
Yes.
like on a Sunday or 3 o'clock in the morning or.
And I love how you and Woodstock work so well together. We've got an amazing community, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
glad that
no,
you,
it was awesome.
yeah, no, that's great. That is great.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna move on with the agenda, and the next thing is we have a memorandum of agreement for the dispatch duties that we supply to Woodstock. I briefly read this. Is there any significant change over the one that's in place right now?
Yes, it's in blue on the next page.
Yes, the significant change is the deletion of paragraph 5.
Oh,
And, see, this is, the two the same thing. This is the original one, that's the changed one. See the blue?
okay, yeah.
Paragraph 2, I don't really see any issue with that.
Me
We
neither.
had talked about the incidental expenses, and I don't see any issue with putting those in writing prior to expending anything, so I think that's relatively a simple request.
Have we had any incidental
It's
expenses?
not that I'm aware of, and I asked Chad, and Chad wasn't aware of it
Okay.
either, so.
So this is just in case.
It would be on the.
Okay, it wasn't anything that
shoot,
triggered
No,
this.
it would just be on.
Okay,
That's fine. And then the biggest change, or the biggest revision that they're looking is the total deletion of paragraph 5, which is the whole harmless indemnify. So I reached out to Attorney Dennis and asked him his opinion on it, and he gave us 3 scenarios. One is to delete it and accept Woodstock's revisions and move on. One is to say, no, we're not revising this MOU and give it back to Woodstock and say, sign it as is. The third is a collaborative option where he had given some slight revisions to the original paragraph where it speaks specifically to a negligence claim versus just claims in general. This is something similar that we did with our agreement with Loon. Remember back in our shared use agreement with Loon where we went over the indemnify and liability section.
Right.
It's a similar format where it specifically references negligence claims. So it wouldn't be any claim that anyone could come forward with. It would be specifically which Jason believes should alleviate some of Woodstock's concerns, kind of what was driving this.
Did he give suggestions of verbiage?
Yes, I can read it right now if you'd like. It says, "The town of Woodstock shall hold the town of Lincoln harmless and indemnify the town of Lincoln for any negligence claim, action, or suit that may be brought by any party against the town of Lincoln as a result of the town's participation in this agreement, regardless of the fault on the part of the town. The town of Woodstock waives any negligence claim they can or may have against the town of Lincoln as a result of the town's participation in this agreement or exception.
So we just added negligence in
Just
two
added,
spots.
essentially, adding negligence in 2 spots.
And say pass it on and we have attorney, you know, that's represented by our attorney, recommended by our attorney. Add negligence and pass it to the Woodstock, let their attorney have it.
Yeah, no, let their attorney up to speak, I agree. Yeah, let their attorney have a look and see what the lay
See
is.
what their
I
attorney.
agree, yeah.
Is that okay?
I guess I thought it would be if we were negligent would be the issue.
They're saying if you're negligent, that we're not gonna, you're not gonna be able to get any suit from us claim against us. If you're negligent, we're not gonna hold you, you know, we're not gonna be any party to a negligent suit.
Did you hear it different than I did?
So if there's a claim, but we're not negligent, but there's some claim,
Then they're responsible for participating.
okay. I thought that said the exact opposite, that they would hold us harmless.
No, it's
If
the
we
town
were
of
negligent.
Woodstock
It's like
waives
what-
any negligence claim it can or may have against the town as a result of the town's participation in this agreement.
Would our insurer be the one to weigh in on this, this language?
I believe our insurer and their insurer are the same.
Which was kind of my
Yeah.
point. It's like,
That's a good idea.
does it matter? If they come forward and say, you know, if you're negligent, they're negligent, it's gonna be the insurance company that steps in. I don't know. Is it a real issue?
I guess, in reality, probably not, but who's not to say that the town of Woodstock or the town of Lincoln doesn't need Primex's coverage in the next 3 years? And then there may be an issue where it may be then our insurance companies fighting this against each other or fighting this out in litigation.
Against them, sure.
That would be the only scenario I would see it becoming an issue.
I would say let's put the words negligent in
Do
there,
do Jason's language and throw it back to them?
send it back to their attorney.
I assume their attorney's the one who crossed all that out.
It was, yes.
Who do they,
They use Laura Stephen Morgan from the Mitchell Group. Just so you know too, Jason also said that not making any revisions at all would be fine with him as well, you know, that it's, he feels that the town of Woodstock should accept such a good provision in exchange for services, but, you know, if we want to do the collaborative approach, I think that's the best way.
all right. After that. All right, this one may pique my curiosity. Salt water tank, what's going on?
Okay, Jane, did you make copies of Sam's letter for them?
I will. I thought I did, but I guess
Are
not.
they in your packets maybe? You never know. Okay, so currently, right now, our hydraulic grade line for new construction is at that 1,000-foot mark right now,
Right.
based on the current water system.
Yeah.
Right.
With the new water tank being installed, that obviously increases. So, Westman Sampson, has done, you know, whatever they have to do to calibrate the new water tank and start to finalizing the plans for the water tank. And, once the new tank is online, the expectation is to convert the sub-peak pressure zone from a booster pump system to a PRV connection to the town's Loon Village pressure zone and the new tank. This allows the town flexibility to establish a new stumble over this word throughout the whole hydraulic grade line in the area. Our initial recommendations were to expand the South Peak service area to include Crooked Mountain Road as well. Previously, when the tank was being looked at by the private developer to serve this area of town, the hydraulic grade line was 1184. So Sam feels that we can get to that 1184 elevation line relatively easily with the new water tank. The reason why we're bringing this up now is they need to finalize the systems within the tank to match our grade line. So we don't need to do it this evening, but over the next, few meetings, we need to come up with the new standard for construction elevations.
The serviceable area of that tank.
Right.
So it's gonna go from 1,000 to whatever you designed.
Right.
Ron, have you had any input into this discussion of this changing?
Not recently, no, but that makes sense. The reason why they wanna put, probably gonna go,
Yes, please.
Yeah, good idea.
when,
Turn it on.
thanks. Yeah, when I was involved, that was the purpose of moving that tank up, the extra higher elevation, because we needed to be able, through a PRV, support the need of the 500,000 gallon tank, which is the Village of Loon tank. And the only way to do that was to gain an elevation in that tank. That's why he mentions the PRV. So for me, the fire guys, that's a good thing, because if we have a big fire over there, that PRV, when the pressure drops down, it will open that PRV and start taking from that new loon tank and maintain the pressure over there, but also give more volume. But also during peak demand times over there, just regular usage or whatever, it's gonna alleviate the pressure on the system to try and just force it all there. That tank, that PRV will open up and maintain a certain level in there. So what is it, 1,180?
1184.
That will fully service the South Peak development. But it also serves as a place for the PRV, a level for the PRV to service the Village of Loon pressure zone.
Interesting.
No,
Because it's gravity.
Okay.
Okay, so the pumps force water into the tank's satisfied, then as the usage starts happening, if there's a higher demand than what the system is trying to put up there, that PRV will open up and supplement and lessen the burden on the water system trying to make that up while it's servicing other tanks. So it's kind of a balancing act.
Yeah.
So it's kind of two systems working together with the heart being the water treatment, not having to overextend itself to cover the demand and meet the storage requirements.
And that's why it needs to be decided upon early on so they can calibrate everything
Yeah.
within,
And the size of the tank also, right?
now, isn't that the same theory between the new tank and the main zone with the Forest Ridge tank? It's gonna be higher than the Forest Ridge tank, right?
Yes,
So any water, like for that fire event,
exactly.
there'd be a PRV also between the South Peak zone and the main zone. And during that fire event, that PRV would have opened
Right.
up and it would be feeding water from that tank in.
Exactly.
So that tank is gonna feed both the Village of Loon tank
and the
zone
main pressure
and the
zone.
main pressure
In the
zone.
main pressure zone, so when that tank goes in, the current booster pump station in South Peak, that right now services Hemlock and up to about
Yeah.
base camp,
27 watts.
we have pumps in there. We paid to put an addition on that to move the booster pumps to a higher better elevation.
We will most likely take over that.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that was part of the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of the agreement.
Right, and essentially that's what they're doing now. They've got the road pretty much calibrated, I mean, pretty much designed and engineered. They got the tank pretty much designed, engineered, and now they're on the pump house and how it all essentially
Right.
connects with each other.
Gotcha.
So they're looking, like, is the choice 1184 or 1157? Is that,
I think it's anywhere from where we currently stand at the 1,000 that we're at, or technically 1,088, but that's,
That was the
yeah,
first.
we call it 1,000. So anywhere between the 1,000 mark, and I asked Sam, I said, what if we went with 1,200? He said it would probably be fine. He said, but I wouldn't go much higher than that. He said, right now, the 1184 number is,
So why don't we just go with the 1184 number? I mean, what is the drawback to not, I mean, what is the drawback to doing that? What is the cons of doing, go to 1184?
I don't think there is any cons. I think it's more so of a kind of a future development. What, do we want to be able to develop parcels above the 1,200 mark? How much development do we
Do
want?
you want me to answer that?
I know, no, I don't want to do that. But I think that's a question. It's a future outlook, a future build out, future growth. Because once we go
Is
in, I
there-
asked him, once we go in, can we change it? He
How
said,
much do
you
they,
could change it, but it's gonna cost you
How
money.
much-
and it's gonna-
how much potential development is there over there above 1184? That's not state forest. I mean, aren't we
There's still substantial lots.
Yeah, I would
above
say,
that?
yeah,
I mean,
I
I
would
know
s-
there's substantial lots, but above that 1184 mark.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how many are above 1,200.
let me go back to, that's a good question, but to me, the real question is, the tank that they were required to build, what would that service? That would be our, in my mind, that would be our duties. We're saying, don't build this tank, we're gonna build a bigger, better one.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the bigger, better one better service at a minimum what their tank was gonna,
Which
so
was that 1184 number.
that's the 1184.
Correct.
Right.
So I don't think we can go below that,
No,
I don't think so
agree.
either. Right.
okay? Because that's what we basically said we would do that.
Right.
So if we go at 1184, what is it a significant cost difference to go to 1,200?
I don't think it has anything to do with cost. It's just making sure that everything's calibrated to that figure.
Gotcha. So I would find out what, if any, they have above 1184. And if there's no big cost difference, and it is gonna benefit the future, and not, and let's do it now, so it doesn't cost twice as much later, then why not? We should do that. However,
Let's
if
see who
there's,
it's gonna benefit though. If it's gonna benefit just the developer, let the developer pay for it. Why should the taxpayer?
it's not gonna cost any more now.
Well, no, we're paying our share because we increased the elevation and increased the capacity of it. They had, what, 1.6 million, I think, back in 2006 or 2007. So consequently, now we're up to, what, 3.2 million?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be anywhere in the 3-4 range.
Right. But Jack, if it's not gonna cost us anything additional, if it's gonna cost us $1 million to go to 1184 and that same million to go to 1,200, why would we not if it potentially could benefit our taxpayers?
Well, if it's not gonna cost us, then
Correct.
we're not gonna.
Well, I think when you go back to the original syntax basis of design, the original sitting of that tank was at the elevation to service all the buildable lots in the South Beach development. That means right up to the forest service line. If I remember correctly, the
Where
reason,
was that spot? In the same place it is now?
it's almost where the pipe ended, because they ran the pipe up till they hit ledge. So it's,
So we're higher than that now.
we're higher than that because we wanted to be able to help the
Right.
Village of Loon pressure zone and also potentially the main pressure zone at the higher elevations, like Mansion Hill.
So if we're higher than that now, there's no need to go any further.
No, and I asked him, like, what if we went to 12? He said, if you go to 12, that's probably
But
fine.
do we have to?
And I said, what if we went over 12? He said, then I think you're gonna start running into issues.
Yeah, you're gonna
I
have
would confirm that at 1184, it's gonna service the buildable lots that are over there.
Okay.
And if not, then at 1,200, will that service the buildable lots that are over there at no additional cost? Then fine. But if there's gonna be additional cost and engineering and such to go any further, then that's not on the town. Did I say that right?
Yeah, but I would also ask, if we went from 1184 up to 1,200, to another 16 feet,
Mhm.
would that be 16 feet of additional pressure that in a fire event would push water from South Peak into the main pressure zone?
Or the
Yeah.
village of Lynn.
Or the
Yeah.
Village of Loon zone?
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
yeah.
there could be a major fire at the Village of Loon too. There's a lot of
We've had one there.
old buildings close together or touching each other.
Mm.
Would that 16 feet provide another 5 minutes of,
You're probably talking about another 2 or 3 horsepower pump
Right,
to be able to fill that.
that's what I'm thinking.
You
I
know,
mean,
it's
yeah,
gonna be a
it'd be a
significant.
slightly bigger pump, some more concrete, but in the big picture,
Right,
Better service area.
would that provide that just extra little storage? And again, the higher that tank is, once that PRV opens up,
Opens, the more
because
pressure
you're
you're gonna
sucking
have,
water out of this zone, the more water is available to push into this zone.
Yeah.
I would tend to go to the 1,200, but present that to the engineer that, you know, we're really looking for that as emergency
Storage.
fire, you know, backup water, to push through the PRV, and does that make sense?
All right, yeah. What are the
But you-
benefits of the additional 16 feet of that, right, essentially, or?
Right, and if that benefit is firefighting water availability, you know, to push into the zone, I'm all for that.
That's
And
another
or-
20 PSI pressure.
Okay,
cool. Next one.
Thank you, Ron.
thanks, Ron.
Okay, I'll go back to Sam and just get a little bit more information and we'll go from there. Like I said, he said it didn't need to be a decision that needed to be made this evening, but it's something that definitely we have to
Good to talk it through.
decide, yeah. Also, while we're just on the self-heated water tank project, I'll just give you a quick update.
Thanks, Joe and Amanda.
The alteration of terrain was submitted for the project. We received notification back from DES that they have received it. And it's just currently in the review phase on their end, so.
At DES.
At DES.
Okay.
Yes,
I guess it's for
the water tank, the alteration of terrain permit for us,
us.
yes, good. So that is moving along.
What's the time frame on it? Does it give you any?
We're still hoping to construct the road this fall, obviously after the bat season. But the goal is still to construct the road this fall and then go out to bid and to have the tank constructed next year. So that is still, Sam is still confident that we can get that done this fall. And some of the major contractors in town, the people who would be doing the road work are aware of the project and what it entails and where it's going, so.
And we keeping Mark Bogosian in the loop.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So, yes, so it is progressing.
Excellent.
All right, before we go into your report,
Mhm.
can we do some of these
Please, yes.
things? We have a new contract proposal. It's funny, last meeting, I think it was, we talked about the audit. We came back and we got great reviews and they, some, so now they have a new contract for the next year.
Well,
Which is, I mean, we need to,
that's actually work for the changeover for the tax collection.
The tax
collector, because we need to do a recommittal. So that just cleans up things, that shows a clear definition of when.
Yeah, because that's not a full year, that's
It's a-
until
right, it's
November or
to
something.
November
Yeah,
6th.
That was the time that.
That was the
Lisa
time frame that,
yeah.
right, needs to be reevaluated essentially.
And so we do that audit
Yes,
and then,
it's essentially already done. This, we're kind of doing things backwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
so does the next audit, do we have to get an audit from November 6th till December 31st?
Unless Christine leaves this year and
She's not
we
going.
hope not.
Okay,
So.
all right.
No,
We're
that'll
not
go,
required to do it for the
We're not required
balance
for
of
the-
that year and then
no,
start on January
No,
1st.
it was only from the change of when essentially she
took over
took over.
until she,
Now, when, after this one, the tax budget goes into a regular
It's
audit.
essentially the recommittal of taxes. So the taxes were originally committed to Lisa as a
Now
tax
they're committed,
collector.
right.
And that also included all the liens and the.
Right, but
and
the future tax
The
stuff will
future
be in our
taxes
regular audit.
should be in a regular.
Right.
It was only because of the,
Right, if
new
we
tax
switch
collector.
tax collectors, then we have to do the separate, right, okay. And that's just his signature, right?
right, and we've actually entered into a contract with Vashon Coupe, we did it last
Yeah,
year,
we
on
did, yeah.
a 3-year budget. Cycle with them, a 3-year term with them, so we know what we're paying for them next year. They did say though, and something that we have to just keep in mind, and maybe I have to remind myself for the 25 budget is, we may be required to do a single audit next year. If any entity receives over $750,000 in federal fund, expends over not is awarded, expends over $750,000 of federal funds in a year, you have to do a single audit to essentially track those funds. So we may get into a scenario with the new PD where we're spending over $1 million in 1 year, whether that's 25 or 24, I think is still foreseen, but,
Okay,
so we might have to spend,
Not
couple
gonna say
thousand more
no.
dollars to do a single audit.
is the grant for the South Peak Water Tank considered federal? That's one of the borders, I didn't know.
It is North Borders, it is, I do believe it is considered federal funding, but I don't see us expending all those funds in 1 year. We've already kind of started chipping away at them in this year,
Right.
but in addition to the PD
That plus
money,
the PD, we might do it 2 years in a row.
well, and we still haven't received reimbursement for the 215 for the new mixers. That could come in this year, so it's just kind of all
Could be,
timing on when we get all those funds in hand.
gotcha, when we expend those funds.
When we
Right,
expend
right,
But
right,
the,
right.
the mixes, we've expended those
We've
funds.
expended, but the project's not closed out yet because there's more funds still to be expended. We have to do the VFDs and then the mini splits, which Nate is working on. We're hoping we'll get that done this summer.
Fantastic.
Okay, all right. 2 more things in the official file here. One is a letter from Christine, tax collector, for properties for deeding, of which there's 1. And it's a property, it's Matthew Birmingham, yeah, it's
Quarter share.
It's a watershed condominium unit 1325D at the Mountain Club at Loon. I've attached the certified mail receipt of Mr. Birmingham's deed notice and mortgage research. I was able to speak with Mike Simons at the Mountain Club. Mr. Simons reached out to Mr. Birmingham and left a voicemail, which prompted Mr. Birmingham to call my office on Thursday, May 2nd. At that time, Mr. Birmingham and I had a conversation regarding the current amount due to avoid deed in the acceptable forms of payment, cash or certified bank check. Mr. Birmingham stated that he understood and he would present to town hall on Friday, May 3rd to pay his account in full. He has not done so as of noon time today, Monday. As soon as that hasn't changed, we will be notified.
You
So
see the amount due on this page? Yeah.
$80.
Yeah, exactly, $79 and change.
What is the deadline that we have? I know we, once,
And today,
no, that's the day that we can file.
oh, gotcha.
We're allowed to, you take this by tax deed today.
There is no timeline, there is no time frame. You don't have 30 days, you don't have.
And we don't
Okay.
have to
You
take.
don't have to take it. You
Okay.
can waive the tax deeding and we don't take it and it just stays a
And do you-
outstanding balance.
If we waived it, do we waive it forever, or do we waive it until the next tax bill comes out?
You would waive it until the next time Christine goes through the tax deeding process and she presents it to you as a property that's available to be tax deeded.
Gotcha.
So, I will say this, in my former community, we tax deeded a lot of properties, and we sold a lot of properties, at auction. And it is a pain in the butt.
It's not
And
always advantageous
It's
to do.
always advantageous to take it, and new, case law, has changed what the town can do after a tax, essentially, if you decided tonight to tax deed that property, we would hold on to that property for the 3-year time frame in which we are required to do so before we can sell it and then recoup it. Well, this is how it used to be.
Mhm.
In the old days, makes me feel old. In the old days, you used to hold the property for 3 years, you could sell it at tax auction, and because you held on to it for 3 years, you could recoup all the proceeds, and it would be town revenue. That has changed, where now there's been case law where, you're gonna have to return all proceeds other than what is due to the town back to the owner. So then you have to go through the rigmarole of contacting the owner, trying to find the owner, making sure, I had many scenarios in Camden where we had to get attorneys involved, we had to put notices in the newspaper of unclaimed funds or unclaimed money, that whole process.
Now, not that we would want a quarter share, however, if the town did go to tax deed on the property, we could keep it forever. If it was 10 acres on Main Street, we could own that
Unless the former owner comes in and requests a right to repurchase.
within the 3 years.
Within the 3 years.
Right.
So once we own it, Tammy, I think the watershed dues up there are like $4 grand.
Oh, I wasn't talking about this, I was just at that person.
Ryan, is that
Yeah.
correct, the dues up there, $4,000 watershed?
I'll speak in that one.
I
Sure.
would be
You
in
could
favor
revisit
of
it in 30
leaving it
days, you
alone.
could revisit it in
You know,
60 days, you could.
I would like to wait till the tax collector sends it back to us again, because.
Or let's just, we look at it in 30 days.
Right, let's see if we can
Let's
collect.
us,
Well, no, let's wait till the next tax bill billing and
like,
deeding.
4 years from now.
No, like July. The tax bills go in July, doesn't she do deeding after that?
No, she does meeting once a year.
Oh, once a
This
year.
is her, yeah.
Fine,
It's-
fine.
Well, listen, I mean, for $80,
Right.
we're gonna spend more than $80
Right.
in the first legal notice we put out.
Yeah.
The first hour, we have an attorney on the phone about this, it's not worth it, but.
But I also don't wanna prompt everybody.
Well,
to
no,
do
you don't
their
wanna
share.
necessarily set a precedent, but maybe you said something along the lines of that you're waiving tax deeding for 120 days, something along those lines, and then, or set a timeline, so then you revisit it.
And
So
ask the
it
tax
doesn't
collector
kind of just fall to the
and
wayside.
can we ask the tax collector to notify this person that this is what's happening?
Yeah.
In 120 days,
You're being taxed.
I'm gonna call Mike Simon and see if he's paid his dues up there.
can you share that?
Sure.
Let's do that. I would be in favor of waiting 120 days, asking the tax collector to notify this person that we're waiting 120 days before we deed it. And then go to deed, just get it done. So that we don't end up with everybody up there not paying their taxes.
Yeah, if we tax deeded the property, we can hold on to the quarter share forever. It's just another property that's going
Right,
on the
right.
town's inventory,
We can rent it as an Airbnb.
No.
Oh, yes.
All right,
Well, we could use it for corporate
are we
retreats.
good with holding up 120 days?
Yes.
All right.
And give them the opportunity, I know we've given them plenty of
Yeah, I know.
opportunity to pay, but, it would be a real shame if we went through this rigmarole and came in and not paying anybody.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
So,
like I said, I think giving a timeframe of 120 days,
and because it is such a small amount, we'll give him 120 days.
and maybe he gets his tax bill in July, and he pays the outstanding balance, and his balance, and it goes away.
Maybe with interest.
Well, it's interest anyway, at 18%.
At 18%, right, or, I don't know if it's 18 anymore, I don't know.
Still,
Still,
it's right around there.
outrageous, yeah.
Close, I mean, gosh.
$7.38 of that is interest,
Whoa.
and that'll go up in 120 days.
Right.
All right,
So I would make a motion that you,
I'll make a motion that we do not tax deed this property for 120 days, and we ask the tax collector to notify whatever his name is.
The owner.
I'm sorry, the owner of such.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
All right. Along with that,
In a seriously.
well, let's do the MS 535. We just need to sign this. This is the expenditures and that were raised at the town meeting. Correct?
No, 535 is essentially, it's essentially the outcome of our audit. It's all of our total expenditures
Yeah.
versus what we budgeted last year.
For the period ending December 31st, 2023.
Correct. So that's essentially the 535 is the report that the auditors produced and we submitted to the city. And I reviewed it and everything seems in line and,
Can I just point out, after a long winter and a long spring, the sun is out, motorcycles are driving by. I've been waiting 3 years for this spring. It seems like it anyway.
The other thing that's in here, this doesn't require action, but it's the DRA's inventory valuation.
2 billion.
We're at 1.276 is the local assessed valuation.
is what the CMP, our current assessors, assess the
Right.
total valuation.
What was it?
How I know.
Okay.
Yes.
And then it's 753 million is what's the DRA inventory adjustment. That is, they equalize, right, they equalize every town so that when they do state taxation, that it's
That is a scary.
Fair, well, and that's
between
why
between the towns. So
our equalization rate is at that 63 or 64%.
Right.
67%, I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, that,
right, so that puts us barely over $2 billion of taxable property in this town. I guess in that, it's still, even without the payment in lieu of taxes, which isn't assessed, but we get, it's inventoried on it separately, even without that, it's just over $2 billion. So that's, it seemed like it just went over 1 billion.
Yeah,
Years
yesterday.
ago. I
I
don't
know.
remember.
and, you know, this, I'm gonna kind of, I guess, go off on a little tangent for a little second, but I
Sure.
know at the Campus World meeting, there was a lot of discussion of, the property taxes that the people pay and the home values versus that home value in another town, and that's how the balances, the tax rate kind of balances out, right? We may have a low tax rate, but our assessments are higher, so there's some sort of balancing act. Just for my own curiosity, I went back and I looked at what the assessed values are for the homes on Maple Street. I looked at what the assessed values are for these, just the village,
Downtown,
just the downtown area. And what we have those properties assessed at reflects the 60% equalization rate. Most of the properties on Maple Street are valued in the $200,000 range, which isn't that, I guess, astronomical over probably what they would be in another town for some, you know, I mean, not to say that it isn't higher, but what they're selling for on Maple Street, the 400, the 500, is not what they're assessed at and is not what they're paying taxes on.
Right.
So my concern is when we go through this next revale in '26, we're gonna see huge jumps. So the taxes that people are talking about paying now
However,
are gonna jump.
correct me if I'm wrong though, right now, that we're paying, you know, you've got your house is valued at 200,000 and you're paying 2,000 in taxes. And it goes to 4,000, the tax rate should go down to
It should.
equal out.
It should.
So you're still gonna be paying that 2,000, but the tax rate's gonna go down. So theoretically, you'd pay roughly the same amount of money, just with a higher tax rate and a lower tax rate and a higher value.
That is
That
the
makes
goal.
sense?
That is,
Okay.
yes, that is the goal. Does
It
it always
doesn't always-
happen that
doesn't
way?
always
Doesn't
happen.
always happen
Fingers
that
crossed.
way.
That's what happened.
Wishful thinking.
But it's
It's, all of that is just math,
all math.
okay? Because
Yeah.
anyone in here can say how much their taxes went up, okay? But after reval, there was an equal amount of property value that went down and their taxes went down. So if your property taxes went up, that wasn't due to outrageous town spending, that was due to, in previous years, you had been undertaxed as compared to other classifications of properties in town,
Yes.
okay? I mean, it's based on tax value divided by town expenses. Simple math, so.
Yeah.
Some people's went up, some people's went down. People's who went down, they never came in and complained, okay? So all you hear is one side of it.
I'd like mine to go down,
I mean,
please, can I get on that list?
I was on both sides of it.
Actually, I can't complain about my taxes, compared to what, we pay in 2 other towns and in another state. Lincoln's pretty darn low, I mean, I'm not complaining about Lincoln's taxes at all, so.
No, and I guess my point of that is, it's for people to recognize truly what their home is assessed at, not for what they can sell.
Right.
Because those two numbers are
Are different.
different,
Oh,
very
yeah.
different numbers. And that's not always gonna be the case. That may be different come 2026, or maybe,
Right.
or maybe closer in value. But I just wanted, I guess, like I said, the point of me saying that is what we are assessing the homes in town at and what they're being sold for are two very different numbers.
That's been that way for a while, though, I don't.
Right, but it's at 63%.
Yeah.
I tell you, my guess is that when the next reval comes out, it's gonna be the residential homes that, they go up in value more than the commercial properties.
Agreed.
Right,
That are,
yes.
you're not finding those outrageous prices, it's based on what the business is doing inside that building, and, it's gonna shift more towards the residential, but again, it's based on fair market value.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, with that, let's go to the town manager's report.
Okay. So I reached out to Jesse Richards from VT Rail. This is the ongoing conversation we've been having regarding their use of the railroad tracks. I reached out to get a status update because at the last time we've spoken, I explained that the sentiment of the board is that we cannot support a project that would impede on the snowmobiles club's ability to use the tracks as part of their trail network, January through March. His response was, and I'll read it, we understand that the snowmobile club has used state and railroad property as part of the trail system for many years in your area. As we enter into a new era and are able to market the area better, this will change the landscape. The movement of logs is not the only project that we or others are currently working on. Any one of them has the potential of year-round train service. If you circle back to our initial meeting, the state was looking to set up a reload facility in the area to serve customers that are looking to extend their market reach. An investment of millions of dollars cannot afford to operate hundreds of here. Tracks are an asset that the state has requested us to make better use of. I would enjoy nothing more than to continue to progress forward with you folks. If not, then you'll have to start making alternate plans. Please let me know. So I haven't responded. I told them that I would I would share this email with the board. But I have a feeling what the board's response was going to be, but I just wanted to share it with you.
Have you
before I
shared this with
responded.
Taylor?
I have not shared it with Taylor.
I'd like to share, well, not just Taylor, but I mean the snowmobile club. I'd like to share that with the snowmobile club. Taylor is the contact, that's why I say Taylor.
I guess my initial response to this was that, the town of Lincoln, part of the town of Lincoln's bread and butter is
Yes.
tourism and recreation. And that's what saved this community from becoming another mill town that didn't have
A
as.
ghost town, yes.
Didn't have as much luck as we do, or isn't as aesthetically pleasing.
Right,
So we need to foster that and promote that and not impede on that progress. And essentially that's what would happen. And although we would love to support the cause of the forestry industry and the logging industry, we can't do it at the cost of our bread and butter,
correct.
essentially.
I'm still in support of the trains and the logging and the whole bit and everything, if it doesn't interfere with the snowmobile.
Right.
Access to the tracks and I won't support it otherwise.
Yeah, and that was,
Yeah.
like I said, that was my knee-jerk reaction to it, but I wanted to bring it to the
That's
board.
how I
Well,
feel.
I think we're all in agreement that,
Yeah,
you know, the snowmobile club comes first here, Vermont Rail comes second. He says they've got alternate plans, maybe, you know, I'd like to know what the alternate plans are.
I don't care what his alternate
Well,
plans are,
I'd
honestly.
like to
I
know,
just-
maybe the town can benefit from other ways, other than.
Well, we
on
weren't
this rail.
benefiting
You know.
for this one.
I think they're
Maybe
alternate.
they can push for another road into the town or something like that, who knows? You know, that would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think their probably alternate plans are finding an alternate location, but I think the snowmobile club should know that Patriot is,
Yeah, I would definitely
You know,
forward
that
this to
they're-
Taylor
they're-
as soon as possible.
their future might change. And not that we have any control over it, we do in this scenario, but we might not in the future, so.
I think that, I mean, it could become a battle, you know what I mean? It's, and we would, if it came to that, we would absolutely, I believe, support the snowmobile club over logging for 2 months.
I guess I look at it that, you know, the rail is really working with the state owns the tracks. Vermont Rail leases them.
The state
Yeah.
also has control of the trail system.
Yeah, but the Department of Trails
Correct.
leases it from the Department of Transportation.
So one pocket to the
So,
other.
so if they decide to go ahead and close down the snowmobile trails and do this, I'm not sure what power we have to stop that, but I certainly don't want to be holding their hands in enabling that.
No.
So I would say we,
Well, we definitely don't have to allow them to use the recycling. I mean, that's our.
Correct, yes.
That's the town, the drop-off area, the loading area that they wanted. I mean, we control that, so, you know, they'd have to go to an alternative.
right, and if they find a different place, there's probably nothing we can do, but,
Right.
I don't want to be part of closing down
No,
some
the
of the.
the club's demise or
Yeah.
whatever it is, yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let him know. Just an update, we've scheduled the Loon PD kind of end of season traffic, what worked, what didn't work meeting. We're gonna meet this Thursday at 1 PM, just so you all know, all parties involved.
And you said, the chiefs,
The Chiefs, Brian Norton, and I don't know if he's gonna bring anyone else.
I mean, is Ron being done again?
Um,
Well, you say chiefs, the chiefs.
I meant deputy chief and chief downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No,
traffic,
because I'm
yeah.
thinking that might be a good time to put a bug in the air about the water issue and, you know,
It's Thursday at 1, but like I said, I've already talked to Brian about it, and he's, I think as far as you all coordinating a meeting with Nate and whatnot,
Okay.
that's probably the better.
Okay.
Okay, Historical Society murals. Carol Riley has asked me if the town would be interested in purchasing replicas of the murals used in the town report by Robert Hughes.
Did the library purchase them? Does the library own sets?
No, they are reproducing them, the Historical Society is,
My question is, if the library buys a set, owns a set, then the town owns a set. If the historical society buys and owns a set, then the town owns a set. We don't need to buy a second set. Unless neither of those entities are going to own a set, then maybe we should. But I don't think we need to additionally purchase a second set.
I think Carol Riley is hoping that we will purchase the set on behalf of the town.
Actually, the Historical Society is not the town, the library is the town.
Correct, thank you, sorry. Yes,
So
you're
the
right, you're
town
right.
does not own the set.
So
Are they thinking that if we buy it, the Historical Society doesn't?
I don't know.
would they end up in your office?
They might. I mean,
You
it's,
can always buy it, put it in
it's
your
two
office.
hundred, it's
then we own it.
$210, it's
Control it.
not an exorbitant amount of money.
But this, well,
But I don't think there needs to be, I
So
agree to
we-
Tammy's point, I don't think they need to be in the library and town hall.
And town hall, and
and-
next door, you're right. So if and when we purchase a set, where is it gonna be?
Munis office.
Well, I mean, it should be somewhere where everybody can enjoy it, and everybody in town doesn't go, hopefully, everybody in town doesn't go to Rita's office.
Maybe it's the PD.
Is there,
Well, if the
Is
PD wants them, they can buy
there
their
funds?
own.
is,
Just kidding.
are there funds in the library budget that the
We
town
don't have control over the library's budget.
right,
So
so
let's
the
go-
library
ask-
purchases it, it's still a town asset.
Sure.
So let's ask Carol to ask the trustees if they'd like to purchase, I'm just kidding.
Wayne, you're a trustee, is there money in the budget to purchase it, and will you purchase it? Let's put you on the spot.
I would say,
Can't speak for the
ask
trust.
Carol,
Carol,
speak for the whole board.
ask Carol to weigh in on who she thinks should purchase it and where they should reside, and we'll go from there. But yes, the town should own one set of these murals, but not one for the PD, one for the fire department, one for town hall, one for the library, just one.
Okay.
And let's get her opinion on where that should be.
Okay.
And who should buy it, whose budget it should come out of.
We're talking $220, $280.
Yeah, I was saying, it's short money.
Not-
Right,
not
yeah.
short money.
Which is short money in any budget.
Yeah.
That's out there.
Right,
I'll ask her, who is also buying one? We're just trying to think of what the most appropriate spot is. for
Right,
it. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't wanna, if we said, yeah, let's buy one, and then there's one at the
Right.
library, there's one here, there's one,
Yeah.
just need one.
Okay. PSNH, DBA Eversource, mediation. So, all the municipalities who are involved in the lawsuit are scheduled to mediate all day, Wednesday, May 22nd, from 8 to 5 at NHMA. They are asking that, either the town administrator, town manager, or administrative assistant, or the assessor from each municipality, and ideally, at least one selectman must be in attendance during mediation to provide authority for us to respond to the offers and counter-offers. Any final settlement offer that we may agree to in principle must come back to the full select board to approve. I've sent an email to San Souci because they are our utility assessors. They haven't confirmed that they will be in attendance, but they have confirmed that they will send out to each municipality what they believe the differences between what PSNH thinks we should be evaluated at, and then what he's evaluating us at, and then the justification as to why. So we have a little bit of preparation if we get to the negotiation part of things. So I guess I'm wondering who wants to go.
You're going,
That's a
yes.
function of the chairman, I think.
I can tell you, no one wants to go.
Nobody
So
wants
the
to
question
go,
is,
I know.
who is willing to go? But I'll do that.
Thank
Thank you.
I mean, that's kind
I'll
of
second
up
that
my
motion.
alley.
Okay,
I'll put it on my calendar right now, how's that?
good. Keep your calendars out, because we got a couple things going on.
Where's NHMA, is that in Concord?
Yeah, so it's
that that-
Triangle Park, it's like behind,
DeMonte Drive
It's-
there,
yeah,
by the mall, by Target.
Okay.
Yeah.
Triangle Drive?
Triangle Park Drive, I think it's technically called. I think it's 25, actually, 25.
Right behind Home Depot.
Yeah.
I'll give you my Target list.
Yeah.
Wood, jury selection.
Whoa.
We have been scheduled for jury selection for Monday, January 6th,
Oh,
2025.
perfect.
At 9 AM.
It's an appropriate date.
And then the trial is scheduled
Yes.
for January 20th through the 24th and January
Right, hang on a
27th through the 28th. 27th and 28th.
January 6th at 9 AM, you said?
January 6th at 9 AM is jury selection.
And then trial dates were?
Trial dates is the week of January 20th through the 24th. And then also Monday and Tuesday of the following week.
Monday and Tuesday, we only had one day the last time.
Yes, and I believe that's because on the first Monday and Tuesday, we'll have a start time of 11 AM and not 9 AM. So
Last 2 days, okay.
the first 2 days, Monday the 20th,
Oh,
it starts at 11. Tuesday the 21st will start at 11, and then all the other days will start at 9 a.m. So I think we have an extra day.
All right, so the first 2 days are 11.
First 2 days are at 11.
and the other was just 9. Thank you. On the 28th? Is that the 28th?
27, 28, yes, both those go back to regular meeting starts.
Yeah, it's after my recount. Holy cow, my January is already filling up. And February.
And that's gonna be a 7-day trial, 5 days and then 2 days.
And that's what they have
That's the
scheduled right
schedule, right? Okay.
now. I mean, subject to change depending on if the witness list gets smaller.
I was thinking it was gonna be around September, October, November. All the way to January. It's okay.
Okay.
Before you, yeah, don't put your phone away quite yet. Okay, so this upcoming Thursday, I have a couple conflicts in my schedule. The Chenard hearing at Plymouth District Court starts at 10 a.m. I have that on my schedule to be in attendance, but I also have the progress meeting for the PD at 10 a.m., so I didn't know if anyone wanted to volunteer to do one or the other for me, because I can't be in two places at once.
How long is the Chinook thing expected to last? Is that set right at 10, or is this just everybody shows up at 10 and we all sit around and wait?
I can't
I thought it was 9, I thought Shannon was 9.
Chenard
I have
is,
10.
Chenard is 10.
Okay.
10 on my phone.
Yeah.
I could do that. I would be more productive there, I think, than I would be at, the progress meeting with PD, honestly. Not that I need to be productive, but I don't think
I
I
have a
would be
meeting in
productive.
Providence Thursday and Friday.
I have the Chinook case on my calendar. I was planning to go to that. That is just the awarding of the $50 a day fine.
That's what we're hoping, yes.
That's the,
The judge is
Decision.
ruling on it, correct.
there's no, this isn't any other appeal or other, in fact.
No, it's not a mediation. No, it's, the judge is
Fine,
ruling
yeah.
on the order to pay or the request, I don't remember what the technical term of it was, but yeah. So if you both are potentially in attendance for Chenard Court, then I will just come to work to
Do the PD.
is that
Yeah.
fine?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right, let's do that.
No, I'd like you to split yourself.
Well, I have some good news for the construction meeting.
Good.
The NHEC has their transformer.
Oh, they do?
Yay!
Bill Johnstone called today, we played phone tag back and forth, but he let Lisa know that NHEC has a transformer.
And it's 20,
21,000 versus the
21,000?
43 that they originally.
right, I know there was 40 originally.
So, and it's paid for and
It's new.
it's, I'll find out more details specifically, but at least that's, I think, good news for all
That's
parties
awesome.
involved.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
So I just wanted to share that with them and go with it. Awesome, okay. New health insurance options. So I know at the last meeting, we went through the whole thing and selected the plans that we were going to offer and the deductibles and the levels that were going to be funded. After I reached out to Health Trust, letting them know our options, I was mistaken about the percentage that the town can contribute to the health reimbursement accounts. The maximum that the town can contribute is the 50%. So therefore, the $1,000 deductible plan, we can't cover the whole $1,000, we can only cover 500. So,
Well, I mean, there's nothing we can do about
there's
that.
nothing we can do about that. So it is what it is, so I told them to craft the plan that way.
Yep.
Our intentions are in the good, the right
Yeah, we
place.
tried. I will say this, Dave Bowden is not on, he was gonna try to be on this afternoon or this evening, but he had another commitment. There are a few employees, and I'm gonna use David as an example just because he said he was coming in to speak to the board, in regards to this scenario. There are a few employees who right now, aren't paying anything for their health insurance plan, they're grandfathered into a two-person plan. So they're currently not paying anything towards their plan. And they feel that the cost associated with the deductible is not a cost that they should have to pay, because they currently get health insurance without any contribution. So what I explained to him, and I looked at the personnel policy and what he was referencing, and I do believe that the town is still offering a no-cost plan to those employees. There's nothing in the language that says the town can't go to a deductible plan versus a non-deductible plan versus a pay-for-service plan. It says that the town has the essentially latitude to choose what plan, but that it will come at no cost. I still believe that that is happening with the $3,000 deductible plan, even with their potential contribution to the deductible. But I told him that I would share his concern with the board, and
Yeah, the plan,
it's still coming.
we're paying 100% of the plan.
Correct. You're just not paying 100% of the deductible.
At what point?
And we can't pay 100% of the deductible, obviously, because we tried to for the $1,000 deductible plan, and Health Trust said we weren't allowed to.
And we're paying the first 50%.
And we're paying the first 50%.
After that, the
I
employees
say,
will fix up.
yeah. Let's let the employees know that we hear them, we understand them. We're still going with that.
Yeah. I think we have to keep in mind the global view of all of our employees and what other towns and employers are offering, and I think this is a good deal.
I agree.
Over the total, the town's total healthcare cost is over 400,000.
It's gonna be, yeah,
$500,000
400, yeah, 407, I think we have.
470.
pushing, yeah. We hear them, we understand, valid concerns. Thanks for the input.
Like I said I would bring it forward to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that is all I have for the public session. I do have some non-public stuff to go over.
Can we add campus world to the back of this?
Actually, before, I'm not all done.
Okay, that was my
Thank
first
you.
Yeah,
question.
Campers World. So I have reached out to endorse it from the state. He was on vacation for the last week or so he hadn't, I don't know, sure, so they got back. He
With
was
everybody else.
with everybody else. So he came back to the office today. He has yet to return my email, but I did get in contact with Harrison. His last name is Kinsler. Kinsler. He is the director, the executive director of AHEAD. He is available to come to the next public. I told him that I was hoping for that week, that May 20th week, to try to potentially coincide with our current select board meeting. He said he gave me his availability that week. He's available Monday and Tuesday or Friday, but not Wednesday and Thursday. So I told him that I was hoping to hear back from Andrew because I would really like Andrew to be involved in that as well, or at least someone from the state, yeah. I did talk to Bino as well, but I told him, I didn't give him specifics because I wanted to give him the date. So I told him that we're having a meeting and that we'd like to invite him. And he said, just let me know when a date and time is settled. I've also reached out to Kayla Tavares from North Country Council, and she has yet to respond back to
I
me as
think
well.
she goes to Arizona and doesn't come back until Monday, first of May.
Yeah, so I am trying to orchestrate the second public input meeting, but I haven't really been able to nail down a time.
We have a regular Board of Selectmen meeting on the 20th.
We do,
I
and
think we should keep them separate, simply for time wise, I'm thinking.
okay, because I also was gonna say too, that my husband very kindly and nicely surprised me for my birthday to get on an airplane and go away. And maybe I would leave Thursday the 16th and not come back until Monday the 20th. So I'm potentially gonna have to Zoom into the 20th meeting, if that's okay.
Or be on vacation and not
Well,
Zoom.
yeah.
Yeah.
If it was the public input session, I was gonna Zoom in no matter
Jesus
what, because
Christ.
I wanted to just hear, but, so I was hoping, so I'm trying to orchestrate something, it may have to be pushed out to that first week, because I also don't wanna do Memorial Day week either, because I know
But
that.
what about the 21st as the input session? I mean,
I could do that, if the board would be willing to,
because he said it was available on Monday and Tuesday.
He is
As long as the other participants are available on the 21st, are you two available on Tuesday night?
I am.
okay.
Yeah,
So
let's try
we'll
that.
Meet Monday for a regular session.
Right, and
Okay,
then do a Tuesday for
and then,
public input.
But you won't be here on the 20th.
I will be here on the 20th.
That's fine.
Okay, so we'll have a session without you.
Yeah.
It'll probably be fairly
Quick and easy, yeah.
And then we'll do the 21st.
Yeah, and I'll make sure Jane has anything that I
Sure,
have
yeah,
that needs to, and then the 21st would be the public.
Public input, yeah. If everyone, if all that are.
If everyone else can.
Correct, yeah. If not, we'll just have to.
Now, if that doesn't work for some strange reason, do we want to try to do something Memorial Day, the following week, Monday's Memorial Day, so it would have to be either Tuesday through Friday, or go for Monday, June 3rd for our next selectmen's meeting?
I prefer Monday, June 3rd.
I just think we'll have better attendance if it's not Memorial
yeah.
Day week.
The only day I would be available that week would be Friday, so yeah, no.
Okay, so either the 21st or we're going June 3rd.
June 3rd, or if we want to keep, do we have,
That's at the other.
we have a selectmen
Okay.
meeting that night though? Or Tuesday the 4th, so we can keep them separate.
Yeah, I don't know, either one's fine with me.
I'm just thinking time-wise. You know, if we have stuff we have to get to at a selectmen's meeting, and we spend 2 hours doing that, and then add 2 hours of public input on Campus World, that's a long night.
As long as it's plenty.
Jack, you're funny.
That's why OJ is on the planning board. No.
I'm indifferent to that, I could go either way.
Let's do it on June 3rd. And what if we come in and started at 5 o'clock? Did what we had to do in the first half hour, and then have a head in the state, Vino, or whoever's.
Okay,
Even if we started at, even if we started at
The
4:30.
21st,
The
correct?
21st, which is that'd be a separate meeting.
Right, and if that doesn't work, we'll
Yeah.
go to June 3rd at 5 o'clock.
Yes, if I can get everyone to sign on for Tuesday the
Yeah, that sounds
21st, that's what we're gonna do.
We're done.
okay,
If not, it'll be Monday, June 3rd.
definitely, yeah, okay, perfect.
That is all I have.
And I think we should put that out there as more of an information session as much as an input session, because we're gonna have hopefully 2, 3, or 4 agency officials here.
Mhm.
My goal would be to suck as much information out of them as we can and not listen to local people's private opinions about that. You know, what's available, without hearing why they don't like it, or this doesn't work, you know. We can do the local input after that. Not that we can't have discussion, we certainly should be asking questions.
But rather than, you know, how like last time when we advertised it, we said RFP, we said, should the town develop it, yes or no? I'll say, let's say,
Ideas for development as proposed, proposed by, State of New Hampshire, what is that, Department of Housing?
they're under BEA, business and
Business
BEA.
and
Okay.
economic.
And then ahead,
Ideas for development with reps from BEA,
ahead,
ahead,
and North Country Council.
And, NBRC, which is.
Okay, and what about Southern New Hampshire Services, which
I haven't reached out to
did
them.
the, project over in Woodstock?
Actually, Jane got that gentleman's contact information for me today. The gentleman from Southern New Hampshire Services, right? Was that the same gentleman?
That's something different. And he came my way because I'm helping somebody get housing in Woodstock. And through that conversation with the landlord and about Campers World, he said, you need to call this guy.
New England Family Housing, residential, multifamily, commercial acquisitions and redevelopment. So I figured I'd shoot him an email and
Yeah,
Zoom link.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's,
Southern New Hampshire Services, I started reading. Okay.
the only other thing on my list is, do we have a date for the next joint, selectmen's meeting with Woodstock?
I don't know.
No, probably usually do it in June, like preceding 4th of July,
That's what I was thinking, it's June.
mid-June. Yeah.
So,
We were gonna try to do 4 year, 1 a quarter.
Oh.
I think we missed the first quarter.
Maybe June 17th is our second meeting in June.
Or do we wanna go to do we go to Woodstock?
They-
like
no.
to do it here.
Oh,
because
they
I
like
know
to do it here,
the
you're
room's
right,
bigger.
you're right.
Now, what we've done is, we've done it on Monday night and we host it. We've done it on Tuesday night and they host it, but they host it here.
Okay. So maybe reach out to Judy and ask her
I will.
what she
Let
wants
me
to
see.
do that week and offer to do
Yep.
your.
Yeah, I can do the 17th or the 18th. I mean, I'm obviously gonna be here the 17th, but I'm also available the 18th, so.
It is.
June 17th.
It's what?
Monkey Hill Day.
I did not know that, but
It's a
thank you.
holiday in Massachusetts.
And the reason I asked is, I was
Suffolk County.
at the Pemming River Local Advisory Committee meeting for, April, it was just last week. And, they have a new management plan for the river that was just put out, and we saw it last week. And then, the discussion came about that Lincoln and Woodstock are not members of that, because back in the 90s, whenever this was established, we did not, these two towns voted not to become members. Obviously, we're still on the Pemming River. We go to the meetings. Woodstock, Jim Cheesebro is their person, and I go for Lincoln.
You're not technically a voting member, right?
We're technically not, actually, I don't know if we can vote or not, because we both do. But we're not a member insofar as if there's an alteration of terrain permit in Thornton, that's anywhere in the river corridor, it gets put over to the committee. The only thing the committee can do is ask questions and provide input to the overseeing authority, which is usually DES. Could be the Wetlands Board, whatever, but it's just, to ask questions, to provide comment. They don't do that for Lincoln, they don't do that for Woodstock.
I get all those emails, I get your emails, all of that.
But none of that has to do with anything in Lincoln.
No,
If there's a Lincoln project that triggers an AOT within the river corridor, which we have a lot, they would, have a look at plans or whatever, and again, the only thing they can do is provide comment to DES. So there's obviously pros and cons of that. Sometimes they see things that planning boards don't. And I think there's more question asking and,
It should be a lot stricter.
What's that?
It should be a lot stricter with
They
their
seem-
comments.
They seem to see things that the town's planning board may not have picked up on. Anyway, they were, if the joint boards wanted to invite them up to a joint meeting, they would come and talk about the process and whatever it is, but a process that the towns would have to go through to become official members that involves petitioning the legislature. Because once it was formed back in the 90s, it was formed by legislative authority. Now, to change that, we'd have to go back to the legislature, not that I don't think it's gonna be a controversial vote, but
Have you looked at the bylaws to see if there's, mechanism for adding members?
Yeah.
Other than a petition to the legislature?
yeah, the last meeting addressed that. He is their technical advisor. He's part of the Lakes Region Planning Commission, which covers a lot of the southern Hemi towns. But he's the advisor for this group. And he was reading the RSA of how it was formed and how to add members. Yeah. So I don't know if we want to start that, but they would come up and speak to the two towns if we were interested. So I'm passing on that message. I'm sure Jim is going to speak to their town, Woodstock. See if we want to do that.
Why don't we put it on the agenda when we have the joint meeting then, see
Sure.
both towns in petition at the same time, that's what we decided.
Well, I think we want to listen to the group first to see if we want to petition. As I said, there's pros and cons of it.
Yeah, I'm like,
I know you are.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I probably have a similar hesitation.
yeah, no, I'm very,
I
extremely,
guess
extremely hesitant.
they're only advisory in nature, right?
No, but they are a thorn in the side, and when they advise, people freaking listen. And they have been in the past, anyway, I'll turn that off.
I thought you battery got. It went dark.
No, I turned it off so I could call them names of people that can hear me.
Oh, okay.
They are, I don't know how to say it, I'm not against development, but a thorn in anybody's side that wants to do anything along the river, ever. Even ones that aren't even on the river, they get stick their nose in there and become all into people's business, and I don't, and maybe it's different now, maybe the members are different. I doubt it. I'm a no, absolutely. Having dealt with it in
Okay.
another town, I am an absolutely no.
But then see, that's where
Don't
you,
vote me if you want, but I'm not
no,
changing my mind.
that's where you have a voice at the table to voice your opposition to something. If you sit back and you let all the.
You don't let them in, there is no table.
Yeah, they don't get they
No,
don't get any
There
of
is
the
no
AOTs in the river zone, they don't get in Lincoln.
nothing.
No, I know, but I'm saying if it changes and you get a seat at the table, then you can make your opposition known to what they're doing and other, like
But it
Tammy
doesn't
said.
matter.
I mean, I've seen, no, I
In my
looked at
experience,
all of
it
the
didn't
things that
matter.
come through there, that one of the guys that was living in town, was building a house, you know who I'm talking
I
about.
do.
And, they were giving him a hell of a time. And
Mhm.
the campground at Owl's Nest, they were giving a hell of a
Mhm.
time. Maybe rightfully so.
And anybody that drives by and looks at the river, they give them a hard time. And I know that's being very facetious and a little over the top, but I have not had a good experience with it in the past. And I will always be an absolutely not.
How do you really feel?
Let me think about it for a minute.
Turn the light off.
Oh, turn my mic off, yeah. That's just, it was not a pleasant, actually, it was a horrific experience. And I don't want anyone in our town or Woodstock to have to go through that for anything. So,
Noted.
Noted. All right,
I mean, I could say more.
maybe at this next joint meeting, we just discussed if they're even interested or think it's worth pursuing,
Sure.
and we even, regardless of what they say, we may or may not vote to,
It does seem to make the most sense that if both towns want to do it, that they would come up and speak to us both at the same time,
That was
and that
the
we
point.
would go to the legislative together, the legislators together, you know, that seemed to make the most sense. That's if both towns want to do it.
My eyes twitching.
okay, that was the only thing I had. Do you have anything?
No, good.
Good, is right.
All set.
All set. All right, then I will open up for public participation.
No one online. Oh, Paul's not here. Anything?
Do you know who iPhone is?
No idea.
But they don't have to identify themselves if they don't speak, so. I make a motion to go to non-public for personnel.
One personnel issue.
Sure.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye. Hey, thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
And thank you again for, putting out fires.
Thanks. Coffee days?